Right, guys, and welcome back. This is Above Average FPL. My name's Adam, and as always, joined by Baker. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad.
Good, good, good. And sound is good. I can see that on my side, at least. Anyway, hello to everyone in the YouTube chat this evening. Glad you can join us. Hope you've had a good game week as well. Been an interesting one. Captaincy choices, FPL crashing. What else has
Drama,
happened?
mate. We've always
Goals
got drama.
everywhere, injuries. Everything's happened this weekend, and we've had a little bit of drama Tottenham wise as well, didn't we?
So
You
much
went from
drama.
Conte out to Conte out of the Marseille game, and then
Oh yeah, obviously, I was just setting it up, as how it was. But I mean, uh, it does feel like just two to go. I really do quite like the idea of getting to the World Cup now, don't you?
oh mate, like the last few weeks have been a killer for me. Like I do feel like it's kind of dragged on. It's weird because it shouldn't feel like this at this point, but it does
Mm.
feel like it's kind of just dragged on, and getting hit each week it's tough. It's not easy, and it's not that I get frustrated, but it's more that once that sort of stuff is out, I know it's out of my control. So I'm just like, well, I just can't be arsed then. It's just difficult for me to get motivated for it, which is stupid because I'm sat here every Sunday night trying to talk about it and try and think what to do the following week. So, I mean, in terms of how our game weeks went, I mean, you can see the scores up on there. So I had 57 -4. Baker, you had 68 -4. Red arrows for both of us.
Yeah, but I mean, it's tough, mate. Like, I feel like every week no one misses, and uh, when um when live FPL updates and it shows you the players that are going to hurt you. You know, the two there was two that didn't hurt me, which was Kane and Tony. But then there were a few others that could. So that namely Jesus, 9 points, Amaron, 12 points, De Bruyne, 11
Yeah.
points, Saliba gets extra, doesn't he? Because it's not just Saliba, it's Arsenal defence in general.
Yeah, it's all of
Yeah,
them.
and so, the actual whole Arsenal defence is about 50% owned. They returned. Dallo, not so bad. I mean, just everybody that felt like they could hurt you, or the majority of them did. And it's
Yeah.
like, you got to have done well. Despite the fact, most of us have walked away. 4 cleans out of 4 in defence, and you get a red arrow.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, that feels absolutely ridiculous as well. My
Doesn't
captain's returned, and I've had my premium return as well, and I'm still on the
Three
red arrow.
3 goals from our midfield, including the captain return. 4 out of 4 clean sheets, red arrow. It
Right.
is tough out there.
Yeah, yeah. And Dal, your question in the chat. So Baker's on 856 points. I'm on 780 points. So that's where we are at the moment. You can see my team there. I mean, the frustrating thing is I feel like I've done the right thing every week. I don't feel like I've made a bad decision at all. Like game week 9 wild card, and then made good decisions. KDB out to Salah felt like a good decision at the time, and then allowed me to get to Trossard. Felt like a good decision at the time. Allowed me to go from Trossard to Foden. Felt like a great decision at the time. But unfortunately, I didn't know that De Zerbi was going to, or that Welbeck was going to be ill, and De Zerbi was going to makeshift
Yeah,
bloody Trossard from a left wing back into a forward, like literally the centre striker. But
it does feel like moves have hurt. I mean, mate, last week I hit out Wilson
yeah,
for Foden,
yeah.
who I then hit out back out again this week
For
when we
Rashford.
found out later for Rashford. So just about covered the hit by three
Yeah, you
points.
covered yourself
But
in the
now,
last
but
minute.
now I want Foden back.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so it's
Yeah.
it's difficult. I mean, the Wilson one's probably about 30 points. I'll be king of the world. But
There's some good scores in the chat. So Jockness Monster, 69 points this week. Mike Halpin, 79. And obviously with the 5-0 win, good
wow,
weekend for him. Simon, from 73 points up to 140k. So, guys doing good out there, which is great to see. So, because we actually get to the end of the game week this week, we're going to do a quick mini league update. So, a reminder that the mini league UAT148 is the code, and we'll be closing it as soon as the last game in game week 16 finishes. I'm shutting it. So,
Boom.
or actually, no, at the end of the, oh no, because we'll do a pod. Do we do a pod? I'll tell you what,
Yeah, we'll do a pod.
I'll do it at the deadline of Game Week 17. Game Week 17, you got the whole World Cup to get in, and then done.
So generous.
But Robin Smith with Yantan Leatherette he's still top. He was top the last time we did it, 889 points, but joined by FPL Najib on 889 points as well. You know, our top 10 is really, really strong. Tristan down in 10th, 875 points, really, really close. If you're not in there, then jump in. So UAT 148.
Getting it.
Is that. Right, now before we jump into the games as we normally do, quick plug. So Above Average FPL, we're supported by our friend Dan. He's just jumped into the chat right now. So he is at CryptoBlockDan on Twitter. He is a games analyst for a play to earn crypto company, also play to earn crypto gaming company. And you know, if you want to understand how the technology works, what NFTs are all about, all that good stuff, then go drop him a follow on Twitter, ask him some questions. I mean, talk about FPL in the chat here. Head over to Twitter and ask him some questions if you want to know more.
Yeah. You and him getting into a bit of So Rare as well?
We are getting into a bit of So Rare as well. So, yeah, thinking about whether to put some content out on that, but I'm sort of just taking baby steps at the moment and learning a little bit at the moment. Plus, my bloody Rare Keeper's just got injured, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. Cheers, Fabianski. And yeah, and also to note that we are now on Patreon. So head over to patreon.com/above average FPL if you want to support us over there. If you don't want to support us financially, that's absolutely fine. Just drop a like on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. All that stuff will really, really help us, and it helps us get our content out to more people. Good. Games.
Good. Games. I mean, before we go to the games, like,
go on then.
Champions League teams are struggling, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, generally speaking. Oh, all of them, yeah. Sorry, yes.
All of them. I noticed it. I watched Match of the Day last night, and I heard them say about Newcastle, and they said, "Hey, 9 of the 11 have played every game in the Premier League." And you're like, "Bloody hell!" that sounds like a lot. And then when they got the Tottenham game, they said, "Yeah, 5 changes for mid," and I was like, "That is a lot." And I thought I'll have a little look at, you know, because the Champions League, you know, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, I mean, we ended up getting out of it with a win, but the other two did not. It's hurting. It's hurting. We feel like as FPL managers might be desperate to get to game week 16, but we've made 14 changes during the 6 game weeks of October to our starting 11. So an average 2.5 changes every game. Same for Liverpool, 15 for Chelsea during that period. Arsenal have made 1 change. And if I said to you, where's the position we did our North London Derby pod? What's the position we sort of think is maybe not the same every week? Left back.
Yeah,
that's it. That's literally the only thing that potentially changes for them. Newcastle, 1 change.
Yeah,
we got to remember this next season. You got to find those teams that are not playing Champions League football, that are the good teams, and just pile in.
It feels like you know, when Liverpool ran their players into the ground, and they had that basically same, when they won the league, they had the same 11 basically every week all season, didn't they? Yeah. And they somehow managed to keep them fit all season, and that was the reason they won the league. They were the best 11 out there with the best front 3, and they kept them all fit. But this season especially is even more difficult. Now, I spoke on the space. I can't remember who I was talking to now, but I asked a question, and it was, you know, sincere enough. And I did kind of know about this, but like, how much impact would the World Cup really have? Because are the players going to be playing as many games as they would normally do during that period? Now, obviously, the key issue is that all of the competitions have been condensed prior to the World Cup. So Champions League was every 2 weeks, Europa League every 2 weeks. Now it's every single week. I mean, we haven't even had the Carabao Cup in the middle where we can, you know, we chuck 8 players out and you play like your centre back and your centre forward and then your captain, and then that's it. Basically, you just have to, you're able to rotate. And this year you can't do it because all the games are important. Now City are in a luxury position, probably because they're the best team. And in that they now through in the Champions League, so they don't have to worry too much. About Sevilla, it'll be a full rotation completely, which is good for them. And they also did have a week off last week as well, which was or the week before. Sorry,
I expect Liverpool to do that as well. It's difficult because, like, should Liverpool rotate this week and just accept second place behind Napoli? But second place, you're going to be up against a good team.
Yeah. I mean, Champions League, you're up against good teams.
I think I would, though.
You think you'd rotate?
Yeah,
I would. I mean, Champions League, you're up against good teams anyway in Champions League. There are no bad teams. Although I guess a lot of teams will look around and go, actually, if we get Tottenham, that'd be quite a nice draw for us. but still, there's no bad teams in the Champions League.
Lessons learned: when your Newcastle or Arsenal's stare you in the face with good fixtures and not Premier, because I know that they've had the Europa and stuff like that, but they can make 7-8 changes in those midweek games every week and then go back to that same team, back to that same team, back to that same team.
Yeah.
Newcastle, literally it's been Joe Linton or Jacob Murphy, and that's it. That's the only thing they've had to think about.
Yeah. I think it worked out. I think when I worked it out earlier, they'd had on average over the other teams, they had an extra 38 hours of rest per game. So so like all the big teams have played, or say big teams, all the European teams have played 9 games in October. They've played 6,
and they just come out so fresh.
Yeah, they look it as well. Look it every single time. So most played in the month for 40 years, as Mike has just said. Yeah, it's mad,
ridiculous.
Yeah, Dan, the FPL fan. Hi guys, I had the worst game week ever, 52. Well, I'm sitting on a net 53, so I mean, I feel like I did okay.
Yeah.
But there we go.
I feel like it feels, when you're having a bad week at the moment, it feels like it's heightened because it is still so close. There's 30 points between 1 million and 2 million, for example, and 30 points between like 1 million and 100k. It's
you keep saying it's close. I feel like it's getting further and further away. I feel like it's slipping further away. And I mean I said it before we started, like this up here, it's not made for a 6-7 figure rank, and I just can't find a way to consolidate myself inside the top million at the moment, and even making good moves. And I made dull moves, which is kind of very anti me. And I mean, it's better than the decisions I was going to make, because I almost took a -8 to get triple Everton. So I'm glad I didn't do that.
I was chatting to our friend Hindu Monkey earlier, and he had
67... He keeps injuring the bloody players.
Everyone, but he had 67 points this week. Was 1.5 million. He's still 1.5 million on 67 points. So I'm like, fuck, it is hard out there.
Yeah.
Right, let's do some games.
Right.
Backwards. Man United.
Let's go. Let's go to the bonus magnet.
I want to call Dalot the best right back in the league, but I think Trippier has something to answer for that. Is on it, but he's not far off.
No,
he's not far off. He really isn't. Is every single one of us will have that. Like as soon as that World Cup thing goes over, getting them to transfers, all of us will bring Dalot in. If we haven't done it by then, that's the only thing about doing it. Like it'll probably be 0.2 more by the time any of us do it that haven't got him.
Yeah, because it's stupid. Their fixtures, they've got. I mean, if you look over the next 4. Yeah, obviously they've got Villa and Fulham leading into the World Cup, and they've got Forest and Wolves out the World Cup, and then Bournemouth in 19. So 3 games, so we'll all have him.
We will all have him.
Yeah.
Absolutely all have him. No doubt whatsoever. He's flying. He's absolutely flying. We did our bonus pod and said, he was the highest this year, and he's just still carrying it on. He had 24 on his baseline again today. I was chatting with some of the guys we did our scout tournament with earlier about, why do Man United fullbacks, why are they good for bonus? And it's always been a case in either a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 team that fullbacks are good for it. Liverpool, you think of those guys, but when you have wingers that don't really cross, and Rashford doesn't want to cross, Anthony's not really playing that way, Alanga definitely isn't, then all of the crosses sort of come from the fullbacks. But then there's also the bonus, what I call pardon the pun, but there's the bonus key passes, and that's when you've got players like Eriksen, Rashford, Bruno, they just punt. If you look at this little graph up here, you see the number of like little tremors, little tiny 0.1.
Yeah.
Those ones are all ones where someone does a sideways pass and they bang it from 30 yards.
Yeah.
And that's what happened today is Dalot and Shaw got 5 key passes between them, despite only hitting the man 2 times on crosses or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think either of those led to shots.
Well, Rashford had one, but yeah. Rashford had one. Saved, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think there was one, I think, where it headed it up. So they're not even getting their key passes off them. They're just getting off I'll tap it inside and someone will bang it. And then because all of those little chances you see there, loads of them off target, the others don't get minus points while these guys are getting positive points. It just equals just a really big thing. But Dalot, some of the clearances he made, he's a big guy. Like he was so good back post crosses, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can come in very, very sure. And Shaw, I like the idea of having both.
Interesting. Well, I suppose it's very difficult to pinpoint who you'd want up top unless you just go Rashford. You probably just go Rashford, Dalot.
I can genuinely see us going Shaw, Dalot, and Rashford. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Did see someone earlier on Twitter said they weren't going to have United post World Cup. They listed a bunch of, I can't remember who it was, listed a bunch of people they would have.
They're not the most effective going forward still. They're still really workmanlike as a team. But that's kind of good. They are working hard. And just throw it in that, they are playing Thursday nights. They are working hard at Thursday nights. They'll be going all out for it again. Like they're just working really hard. But I do think that once they haven't got as many Thursday night games when it comes back, that they'll be a bit more free flowing and that they've got a bit more time to do it. Yeah. West Ham were just great as soon as Antonio came on. Scamacca was lucky to stay on the pitch, but other than that, they were pretty miserable.
Yeah. Bar a last like 5-10 minute surge at De Gea's goal, which he did well to keep a few of them out, and you were obviously unlucky not to get more points for Zuma.
Oh, mate, once you've had a 15-pointer off Zuma, you can't feel too bad and you don't get another one. But
this is true.
Watching Scamacca, no chance I would go off Mitrovic this week, even with City to go there. No chance.
I'd much rather go to Calvert-Lewin, I think.
Yeah. I think we can work through the strikers as we go through them, but just as a game.
Yeah. Yeah, Dal will cover game week 17 much closer to the time, I think.
Yeah.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Still 2 weeks to go.
United, two away games, Villa and Fulham.
Fulham, yeah.
Rashford on your mind?
A little bit. But as I said, there might be a player that I want. There might be another player that I want if he's going to play striker.
Yeah.
To be honest, and he's got Wolves and Villa coming up. So, we'll see on that.
Ronaldo, he does hog a lot of stuff. Things do seem to go to him. I felt like Rashford was a bit periphery at times. Great header, obviously. I was over the moon to have the goal on the team. But
then that's shown in the bonus as well. If you look, he had basically he was tackled a couple of times. Like a lot of his stuff was negative. Like he missed. He had 2 shots off target. And that was about it. All of his positive bonus stuff came from his goal. That's it. Yeah. There was nothing else, I don't think, that really attributed to it. I think it ended up on 23. Even if he was, to put it this way, even if he was classified as a striker, he wouldn't have been in the bonus. So no. that probably tells you.
Yeah. Move on.
Okay, let's talk about him. Just.
We say it every week, mate. They come out fast, straight out the blocks, which when we get to the Chelsea game is going to make me want to vomit out my face. But look how quick they come out. And we said it on the pod last week. Yeah, we said, if Liverpool score early when they got to that game against Forest, then it would just be a different game. But we said there's no chance Arsenal don't score early. And then once they do, it's game over. What can they do? And it was just game over.
Yeah.
They literally just rolled over immediately.
Well, yeah, and I don't think we didn't expect Forest to come out firing at them either, especially at Arsenal. And, I was careful how I word this. I obviously accepted my assist gracefully, and look, I felt before the game that Forest were going to get beaten badly.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy with the assist to start with. I was a bit pissed it was Martinelli to start with, and then I realised that Saka got the assist. I was fine, and then to see him on the ground like twice in 5 minutes. The first time I was like, that's fine, he's up. That's okay. Second time, I said, it's just typical that I make him captain and he does this. And so I was disappointed he went off. I had a smile on my face at the same time. Sorry, Mike. And the thing that really pissed me off is obviously that Reece Nelson has come on and scored twice and then got an assist himself.
And both his assists are from playing in the right side position as well. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, mate.
So I picked the right player.
Pick the right player.
Pick the right position. Yeah.
Right out. Bad out. And I don't know about you, but when live FPL and you see how many positions per point you're going to gain for a player, you see that now.
Like 34,000 for me.
I looked at it and I was like, wow, Saka is so low owned.
35,000 per point.
Oh gosh!
If you'd have got 20 points, I'd have been in like the top quarter mil, which he could have done with 2 goals, 2 assists, 3 bonus.
That is insane.
But it's just I'd have been top quarter mil. He's easy as well. It's just ridiculous. Anyway,
I had a discussion on Twitter last week that apparently we can't say that Jesus is a bad finisher because his XG in the Champions League is good, despite the fact that he's underperformed in the Premier League every season since he's been there. But he's just a bad finisher. I've said it all day long. He is a bad finisher, but he's a really good player and he's a really good team player. Like, it gets into the right positions of the team. That first goal, did you not just immediately think that must be a Jesus goal? Like, I immediately thought it was and then was like, that's
the
Martinelli. Yeah, brilliant. But then after that, I noticed he spent most of his time out on the left, and it was really Martinelli through the middle. But it does make him very, very hard to defend against because you just don't know where those two are going to be. Reece Nelson. Nobody definitely had him.
Well, no, no.
Thomas Partey with a banger.
Yeah, I'm not really fussed about Reece Nelson.
No.
Or Partey. Odegaard, 5-0, who cares? And so, yeah, I mean, look, they're doing well. They're still going. And, I'd like someone to trip him up, please. Sooner rather than later. In fact, actually, the City game, it's ridiculous. The City game being postponed is like one of the best things that could have happened to them for pre-World Cup, just because that could have been a game that could have brought them back down to earth. But it didn't happen. They carry on going. They're rightfully top of the league, and they're playing good football. So
good football, mate.
It's not fun. Anyway, so would you look to bring in any Arsenal players then for the next 2 weeks? No interest.
No.
Got what you got. See what happens with Saka. If he's injured, take him out. If he's not, then great.
Yeah, it's exactly that for me.
Okay.
2 away games, like I say, the hardest away game they played all season was United, and they lost it.
Yeah, true.
So that's a big challenge for them next week at Chelsea.
On to Liverpool. I didn't watch this game. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I didn't. I think the timing of it just doesn't work for me around family stuff and things like that. But I was keeping an eye on it, and then I switched off with like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to go. I was like, that's all right, and then switched back on 10 minutes later to see the Leeds had won the game. So that was rather enjoyable.
I mean,
that is it. I basically switched off when Salah scored. That's what happened.
Because you captained Saka.
Because I captained Saka.
Yeah, but that didn't work out it didn't really work out too badly for it.
No. I was fine this morning. I was absolutely fine. I woke up this morning. I was like, this is good. in a good position.
Yeah.
But
for those that listen to the pod, they'll know that I think that Joe Gomez is one of the worst defenders the world's ever seen, and decided to show us after 2 minutes and terrible back pass straight to Rodrigo, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
it's funny because it's a difficult one because yes, he doesn't look, but does he not look because he just expects his keeper to be? If you look where the pass is, like the pass is a decent pass back to where his keeper probably should be standing. But Alisson's presumed something and has come wide, and obviously that's caused a problem. But yeah, enjoyable all the same.
You can't carry someone like Joe Gomez at Liverpool. You can't play a high line with someone like Joe Gomez. It's just not good enough. You've got to be able to hold your own. The number of times that Van Dijk's had to be like 3-on-1, there's him, and he has to be positionally perfect, knowing that it's going to come against him. That Matip knows it. There's a reason why he hasn't, rushed him with Konate. Now he's got no choice at the moment with Gomez, but he's never going to be the answer. And Matip's, never going to be fit. It's never ever going to be particularly fit. And Konate seems a bit of a problem himself with injuries, so they're going to keep conceding big chances. But yeah, that then puts them just game state. When they're just giving a goal away, they're just always letting teams in. It's just painful. Salah then gets them back in it, and then as soon as they've scored, it's like back to Leeds leading it.
Yeah.
It's once they go 1-0 up or 1-1, you think they'd take and absolutely dominate, but next 20-30 minutes is Leeds again.
Yeah.
Just so much of it just doesn't really seem to work. Like, surely just losing Mane isn't. It shouldn't be as big a deal as it is, but it is.
It just seems to have broken. It just seems to have broken the system.
Yeah.
Is it just another year as well on top of it? Everyone's the same. It's the same squad, bet pretty much, and it's just another year older. And yes, they've added Darwin Nunez, but that's about it.
Yeah, and I feel a little bit for Salah. I really do. Like I messaged you to say, despite the fact he didn't have Salah captain, that as soon as Curtis Jones was coming on, well, that's it. That's the end of him, because he's just the world's worst positional player. He comes on at the right side of midfield, Jones, and then as soon as he does it, he just pushes Salah wide. Like, I just always look at like, who on earth do you think you are, mate? Like, you go outside, let Salah go in the middle, and we'll get some goals. The one time he drove right and then cut across, he got a chance to Salah. But the rest of it, he just started pushing Salah further wide. Just doesn't make sense for it. Darwin can't finish.
Yep.
Can't finish easy chances, but then like the banger that he hit top corner from 30 yards, it's wonderful.
It's so weird, isn't it?
Just the second he has any time to think about it, it's like...
Yeah, because it was that one chance of Meslier came out and smothered. I
didn't expect him for a minute.
I didn't feel like he was going to score. You never thought he was going to score.
Not at any moment did I think this was it.
And you look at other strikers. Nice. I haven't got any more, actually.
Right, man.
Yeah, like most other strikers, you'll feel like they will either round the keeper, or they'll take that shot earlier, or they'll do anything. They'll do something different. Like, you'd expect Wilson to score that goal. You'd obviously expect Son or Kane to score that goal. You'd expect Haaland to score that goal. Like, just didn't feel like he was going to score. And obviously, like, Trossard did it against he did it against Chelsea. He literally did it against Chelsea when he went round Kepa. So Darwin gives me Andy Carroll vibes. Yeah.
There is a bit about it.
Probably a little bit of hair as well, but yeah.
Robbo, 2-3 games in a row now. He is the leading. So he was the last weekend against Forest. He was the leading chance creator. Midweek against Ajax, leading chance creator. Absolutely annihilated the baseline this week again. Leading chance creator for them. Trent gets taken off again. Yeah. I just need to keep that in mind. I do wonder that when we get back in 17, do you just go with just get Robbo straight in?
Yeah, potentially. Okay, something to think about.
Because he's a bargain. Under 7 million for Robbo is a bargain.
What are you thinking about Salah?
I don't know. There's enough issues to take it out. I think. I guess the thing is that that you could just do an easy thing this week of go, hey, Salah's away at Tottenham, De Bruyne's at home. De Bruyne just got a load of points. Just go De Bruyne, and that's what probably 1 million people will do this week.
Yeah, maybe.
That home Southampton feels nice. Feels nice in the last one. I just saw a message saying Robbo should get banned for that kick on the keeper. I completely agree. He absolutely. I refuse to believe anything other than he knew exactly what he was doing there, leaving his foot on a melee at the end.
He's a dirty player. Always has been.
He is.
He's like Paul Scholes. He's basically like Liverpool's modern day Paul Scholes.
Oh, knows what he's doing.
Knows what he's doing, but gets away with everything all the time.
Absolutely did.
Yeah,
absolutely did.
Okay, I think honestly the problem I find is that there's just especially with Haaland injured now, like where are you spending the money? And any move to KDB means a move out of Foden, so it's a hit, right? It's not like it's a Salah to KDB now because we're all tripled up on City.
Yeah,
so if you haven't
3 million in the bank, like
yeah. And it's not like Kane's even putting his hand. Well, no, he's been fine. Kane's been absolutely fine, but just disappointing. Obviously, he didn't return at the weekend, but. Well, I guess not disappointing because my red arrow would have been even more red.
Yeah.
So,
I was very grateful that we won without him scoring.
Yeah. Very good. Right,
Bamford. How about Bamford at the end? Do you see the? I mean, it doesn't go on the XG that thing, but put through 1-on-1 and he just sort of lets it roll over his foot. Doesn't even get a shot off. Like that should have been. He should have absolutely crucified. And then actually, even for the goal. Like he didn't mean that assist.
No,
he didn't mean that assist. It pops up off his foot, like up in the air.
I was so surprised that Alisson didn't actually save that. Were you? Were you surprised he didn't save that?
I was a little bit
soft.
Yeah, it did feel a bit.
It felt
like you could flick it. Do you know what I mean? You could just get around it, but
yeah, it did feel a bit soft. But
it did feel a bit soft.
Yeah,
Bamford always gets chances. I don't know. It doesn't matter what happens. The second he comes on, it's like chances. But he just. He looks so off it.
Yeah, but he gets that. It's that movement, isn't it? Every time. So
where's the game? Everton Fulham. Is that next?
What a game!
I quite enjoyed it.
Did you?
I think I tried to tell myself I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's not very often I enjoy a 0-0. Maybe that's because I had a bad experience with Everton and a 0-0 when I had to drive all the way there. And drive all the way back on a Monday in January. That kind of thing. That kind of thing will poison your mind.
That probably would be.
But what really disappointed me, seeing as I was thinking about going to Everton players, was just how non-existent they were in the second half.
Yeah,
which was obviously a complete letdown. So I was genuinely close to taking a -8 and going Patterson, Gordon, DCL for the 3 and just saying avoid Arsenal because I can only get one because I don't really want them for Chelsea. This is my thinking anyway. And I was like, you know what? If I avoid them, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to get pain from the 2 that I don't get anyway. And then, and I've only been 2 points worse off. Well, 6 with the extra hit. But yeah.
The thing I think with Everton is that they're dull, aren't they, at the moment? They're like not dull.
Well, it's funny because like
not dull. That's the wrong word.
But last week they were just like insatiable, weren't they? They were just
they're working really hard. They're disciplined. Discipline's a better word than dull. Discipline's a better word than dull. They are in a relatively good space. Even the chances they were letting go, they were kind of lots of little ones. And then you felt like on the break, there was a number of times where if they just played the right pass that they were in, they sprung on Fulham so often and were like 2 on 3, 3 on 2. And
they had a couple of opportunities and crosses. And I'm just thinking back to the DCL one in the first half
Is it the one that he
was
sort of took
whipped
away
across.
from Gordon in the end?
Yeah,
Like,
Gordon
if
was
he
right at
missed
the back.
it, Gordon just taps it in.
Which I think is that big chance that they have at the start.
Yeah. But you did feel like DCL could return. But I look at it and think to myself, I refuse to believe that Mitro doesn't get 5 shots in a game. Like he just finds a way to get those shots, and it's like, is it worth it? Genuinely, is it worth spending the transfer on him? As it looks like at the moment.
We might as well just go and get the guys that are scoring the points, mate, rather than the ones that we think are going to score the points.
Mitro just gets shots, and people moaned about it, saying it's bad, and he gets 10 shots and blah blah blah. But
yeah, 10
he's
shots
just
yesterday.
always in the game.
He had 10 shots yesterday.
He's always in the game. He should have been sent off. Like, whether you think that the tackle should have been sent off or not, just before that, he did a pretty nasty foul and then booted the ball away. And like, I was like, oh, Mitro's been booked. And I was like, oh, he hasn't been booked. And then 2 seconds later, he stamps on the guy, and you're like,
yeah.
He was lucky not to be able to pitch. He never runs, Mitro. Do you see the amount of times he just walks around, and he's like, well,
it doesn't surprise me.
I haven't got the ball now, so I'm just going to stand here and hope that there'll be another shot come up. And it does.
Yeah.
Because, like, Wilson, Andreas, Cabano, then Willian, like, they do all the running.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice on the breaks that
sounds like me when I used to play football. I never used to move that much.
I did notice that Andreas like suddenly became the number 9 basically on any kind of break. He overtakes him now every time. Like, he wasn't even in the picture.
This has been 5-6 weeks in the making. That's he's been the furthest forward player for a while, Andreas, actually, in a number of games. And that's why I almost want to start him every game at the moment. I'm quite comfortable starting him every game.
But, Mitro will have a week. He'll have his ankle up, all rested. He probably do bugger all training whatsoever. And would I back him to not score? Just back him to score? He could do.
Wow.
He could do. You wouldn't rule it out. You definitely wouldn't rule it out. And if it had some of the chances that West Ham had today, would you think he might score against Man United next week? He could do.
Possibly, yeah. No Spartans, not a goal hanger. I used to just bang him in from 20 yards instead.
Yeah, couldn't bother to run that far to get in.
Exactly. No channels. Fuck that.
Just biff it.
Exactly.
3 o'clock. Where we going?
Got to go here.
Oh, Callum Wilson.
The one that got away.
The one that got away.
You feel like he's not only proven himself from people have been talking about. They were talking about England yesterday. You think Isak's getting closer, and he's like, you know what? I've just got to keep scoring, just keep scoring, just keep scoring.
And he wants it. I mean, he wants it. He wants on the. I love how everyone says that Wilson's got something to offer that the others don't. Like, I've heard so many people say that. I'm like, what is it? What is that one thing that he's got? Like, don't really know what it is.
No, he's just.
But I think he's just a good pro.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's a really, really good pro, and I think he wants on that plane so much that for the next 2, he'll just do whatever he can do again. Doesn't surprise me that we're seeing like 20,000 people an hour bringing him in.
But it's just, he scores like inside the box, like especially inside the box, which is, when you've got players like Joe Linton and Almiron driving, and you've got Guimaraes driving, and you've got not only that, you've got Trippier crossing the ball in. The focus is going to be on the guy in the box, and he's just lethal in the box. Doesn't matter, left foot, right foot, near post, back post, on the head, back to goal, facing goal, one-on-ones. Like, he's a really, really good striker.
He's a really good striker. And he's hungry.
Yeah.
He's hungry.
It's like everything I wanted Chris Wood to be.
Yeah. Would you, away to Southampton, home to Chelsea?
Yeah.
So good at home. It's hard not to.
Well, I mean, if they keep putting up numbers like this is not the first time they've put up 3.5 XG. They put up 3.5 XG against City, I think, if memory serves me right. And they've been putting up consistent. We talk about over 2 XG teams, and we talk about that from from a concept of how many attacking players should we get from the teams. And we also said earlier, we're sitting here with Pope and Trippier. Obviously, Trippier is one of the attacking ones. Like Trippier is almost our Cancelo type player, right? Equivalent.
Trippier is the best value game player in the game. Yeah. Like there's nothing anywhere.
Wilson's Haaland. Like it. Wilson's Newcastle's Haaland. That's a big.
Just moving back to Trippier though, mate. Like genuinely. Best player in the game. He was. You could see even first half that he seems to at some point take a knock, and he looks like he's kind of struggling through the game a little bit. And you think, oh, is he struggling? And then he just carries on playing, carries on putting balls. He gets 4 key passes every single game. Is baseline? I just checked it. Is baseline for the season on bonus is 17.6. You know, so
as soon as I get a clean sheet, he's on 30.
Yeah, top 5 players in the game. The other 4 are all keepers, and then there's him. And then there's Thiago Silva. We've talked about Thiago Silva many times, but nobody gets anywhere near him for bonus on his baseline. He's just an animal. Like there's no chance if they get a clean, anybody else has got to score 2. Anybody else has got to score 2 because he's on 30 points just off his baseline alone. That's without him getting an assist. He then gets an assist and he's like 38, 39.
I mean, he's putting up Trent levels of numbers, but Trent used to get the assists as well. But he's still putting up Trent levels of numbers from a baseline perspective. He's only had 2 assists and 1 goal this season so far. And he's pretty efficient. I mean, it was only 4 crosses he had this week. You think that would be Trent, that'd be like 25.
But even McLean he's at 29, 30.
Which
means he's getting 1 point at least every single game. It's just absurd. Yeah. You know, he's got 12 bonus along with Dalot. This one. They're the right backs are kings of the world, those two.
We all thought it was going to be Trent and Reece. And it's turned out to be Dalot and Trippier.
Dalot and Trippier, mate. The new Trent and Reece. Haaland and Kane are the only 2 above him on the bonus. Miggy is just special. It looks like you're watching Salah, doesn't it? If you just squint a little, it's basically Salah. The way that he's hitting the shot
inside, and
it is. It's just magnificent. That goal was just.
There's been a few deja vu type goals this weekend. I was thinking about obviously the one the Arsenal guy scored.
We've had so many good ones though, right?
Again.
That same goal, but you had in the volley you did, the thing. He's
just something different compared to what we first saw when he came to the league.
It's so stupid. I brought him in Gameweek 4, mate. Like I'm the fucking prophet here, and then took him out in Gameweek 5. But like he's been showing signs, but it's madness that we don't have him. It's utter mad. 79 points this season at 5.6 from 13 games. And you know, since game week 8, when everyone wildcarded, he's now got 59 points. Second best player is Trippier on 47.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like miles away. You said earlier you thought of it like the Gundogan or the Lingard punt type thing. What on earth?
Yeah.
We haven't completely missed those ones, but we have missed these. Why are we not doing it?
I don't know. Because we need to go from Trossard to Foden to Saka, because that's the natural progression we had to do. Yeah.
Cool. Been blinded by all these £8 million midfielders and stuff, and Almiron's just sitting there. 40% of the top 10k are just going, yeah, we'll just take 10 points again this week.
Just wonder why I wonder why we keep getting red arrows. I'm nowhere near the top 10k, so it's not those guys that are impacting my red arrow.
I mean, it didn't work out too badly, but I took out Foden late on for a hit, and I thought I'm going Rashford. And as I did it, I was like, how do I find Rashford on the app. I'm panicking here. I was playing golf, and so I sort by form because he's playing well, so at the top. And Miggy is right at the top when I press sort by form. And I was like,
No.
Miggy, why have I not considered? Hold on, let me find Rashford. And I had to search, and I kept searching, and it was going down. And then I was like, I can't find him. Search by Man United. And then he was still third down.
Oh,
I was
God.
like, oh, God, what am I doing?
Is this the one I want?
Is this the one I want? As I said, he scored, so I can't completely moan about it. But he's no Miggy.
No.
Miggy. 5.6.
It's 30% owned at my rank. So, yeah, nightmare.
It's killing us. And we just talked about those fixtures.
Yeah.
Miggy. 3.45 extra. This is not the first time. Like we've said it. When they get ahead, they just keep going.
Yeah. I was going to pull up on FB Ref. I was looking at the. I was looking at XG.
When you go to FB Ref and it says similar players for Almiron, it'd be like Messi. That's it. Let's do it.
Hold on. I'm on it. Miguel Almiron.
FB Ref, similar players.
Jordan Ayew.
Fuck off. Jordan Ayew.
Wilfried Zaha. Pedro Coutinho. Ryan Fraser. Felipe Anderson.
Insult. This
Lucas
is an
Ocampos.
insult.
And Daichi Kamada at Eintracht Frankfurt. And some guy at Lazio that I can't pronounce his name. I'm not
Pedro. Try. Pedro's on the old Pedro, the Chelsea old Pedro.
Yeah. He's 35. But yeah,
that is insult.
Disgraceful, isn't it? Right. We're at 50 minutes and we've still got 5 games to go through. Although, to be fair, 2 of them we probably won't even not going to touch.
That's a bad game.
I do love some of the comments in the chat though on Almiron just before we get off of Newcastle. But Almiron's now 2 points off KDB. Miggy has Mahrez vibes from Leicester days.
Yeah,
I think that's really fair shout from.
And Wilson has Vardy vibes, mate. So
yeah, Miggy will be saying Shelvey is playing like Jack Grealish on the trophy parade, which I love.
Amazing.
Do I think Miguel? Do I think Miggy will buy Grealish a thank you card for turning his career around? I mean, why not?
Why not?
Right, we've got 150 people in the chat or watching, and 32 likes on the stream. Please do hit that like button. Really would appreciate it. Moving on to Palace versus Southampton.
How much we wanted to get rid of Zaha a lot last week, and now he's done this to us. How much do you want to get rid of Zaha this week?
Yeah. What I could go Zaha to Almiron.
But we won't because bloody Saka will be injured. Now we're stuck with Zaha for another
forever
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hate him.
Good fixtures though. Still good fixtures coming up. That's the problem, is like it's all good fixtures coming up.
0.69
West Ham
XG. At least we got the Gahey point. So at least, we got lucky, because look at that. They got absolutely battered.
I mean, you called from the petulance bit, you called that bit with Lianco, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good. No. Like, I watched Lianco last week and thought he's a nutcase. And then guess what? Literally half hour in,
bang.
Both booked. I didn't even see what happened. All right, I didn't even go and look at that.
No. You just saw it come up on SofaScore next to each other like that.
Yeah, and I was like,
bang.
Stuff you.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was just grateful in the end. We got away with 2 points.
So are we doing anything? I mean, we're getting, we think, is it confirmed for next week? We can get some Southampton chat next week?
Yeah, we are going to get some
Southampton chat next week because we've got Lucy Hynek coming on from Who Got the Assist. So we're greatly looking forward to talking some football with Lucy, and if she can give us any insight on Southampton, that would be great.
Home to Newcastle.
Newcastle's going to enjoy that.
She's going to get Miggy next week and then come straight on about 4 hours later.
Yeah, that could be tough. Could be fun, but I mean, from an FPL point of view, I'm not really thinking about it. I've got what I've got from
no
Palace.
Transfers on these people. If you haven't got Saka, I'd get Zaha out. I would be happy to.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's move on to the other one that doesn't really matter then so much.
Well, again, what do you do about Tony? Because 1/3 of managers have Tony in the game.
Yeah. Well, he's going to miss. What? Who have they got in 16? They've got
Forest.
no 16.
No,
City.
16.
City.
Oh yeah.
Sell.
Oh god.
What are you gonna do about Tony?
Sell.
You sell. You sell him. Yeah.
Oh,
If you
where
got
do you
Tony,
go?
sell him. Doesn't matter.
Wilson.
Wilson. Yeah. Go
Oh
Wilson.
god, 30% of the game are going to go to Wilson.
It's fine, mate. It's fine because 20% of those or 50% of those are dead teams anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, they're all gonna. It's all gonna be Tony to Wilson.
Only the top 10k, mate.
Oh, is he? Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Tony to Wilson, done. This is what you do. I did the Tony to Wilson last night, Dal. Okay, there you go. So you're contributing.
No.
You're contributing to it. This is bad.
That Wilson hit is going to hurt me so bad for 2 weeks.
Tony to DCL, another option.
Diogo Costa's a nut job. Ben Mee. We should say about Ben Mee scoring a ridiculous volley.
Ridiculous scissor volley. Yeah. And what's this chat about? Like FPL Harry and Ben Mee? Is that do we know what that is?
I have no idea about that
because I swear he looks more. He definitely looks more like Nick Pope than Ben Mee.
Definitely looks more like Nick Pope than Ben Mee.
He's definitely a spitting image of Nick Pope. Yeah. I mean, it's the same shit from Wolves. I just don't get excited by their attack.
Bad games.
Just
if there's a Wolves game, it's a bad game.
And fixtures wise for both of them, I mean, Brentford have got two away. I mean, even the Forest game, 2 away games are just bad away from home. And Wolves find 2 home games. They've got Brighton, who just demolished Chelsea, and then they've got Arsenal, who are demolishing everyone.
But they do bring teams down to their level. Like every game, whenever we look at it as Wolves, it's like, oh yeah, it's 1 XG. Like that is the one thing I'd say about Brighton going there. People looking at Trossard is that Wolves find a way to ruin games. They just find a way to make them awful.
They are, to be fair, they are miserable. Every time we come to talk about it, just can't.
Misery. Yeah, you just know. Like you said before we started this, you said I missed a game on Match of the Day. I was like, I know which one that was. Brentford Wolves.
Yeah, I think it was this one. Yeah, pretty.
They find a way. They find a way. Neves a good player, but
I mean, yeah, because he just scores. He scores 0.05 XG shots. That's all he ever does. I wonder if he's actually ever scored a goal that's higher than 0.05 XG. Oh, forget penalties.
Yeah, overplay. Overplay.
Yeah, it's a good advice in there. Keep your transfers. UCL is coming up. That is very good advice.
Yeah,
definitely. Right, 3 games to go. Over to the Potter Derby.
Absolutely battered.
I enjoyed this so much. Like, there's nothing.
Smile on our face.
There's nothing nicer than seeing Chelsea lose, and for the way they did it as well.
Yeah, to just go.
Just went at them completely from minute 1. And what's fantastic and slightly strange is that it almost felt like Potter didn't see it coming. It's not like he's worked with the players. He's worked with that group of players for like, I don't know, 3-4 years or whatever it was he was there for. And
I got in the morning. I was in the car. I played golf in the morning, and I was on the radio, and they were said, the derby, and they were saying how good Potter's done, unbeaten in 9, whatever that, and I was like, every week we do this and go, Chelsea got lucky, Chelsea got lucky, Chelsea got lucky, and I was listening to TalkSport, and Cascarino was on TalkSport. And Georgie Bingham says to her as the Chelsea are the most overpowering XG, and he said, "What's that?" Genuinely says, "What's that?" Brilliant. And he wasn't even joking about it. He was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "God, I hope they get done," because they have been getting away with it. Have absolutely been getting away with it, and good. This game, it looks quite close, but you realise that 2 own goals equal no XG. And if Brighton was on players on each of those ones, this would be an absolute mauling. But that game was over at half time.
Yeah, and seeing that, and that goes to showing like the Kai Havertz max bonus. in a 4-1 defeat because he's the only striker that scored. But yeah, again, if De Zerbi's going to deploy Trossard, and I use the word deploy because he is an absolute weapon. If he deploys him up front, then Christ, I mean, like his goal was just superb. Like just a man oozing with confidence.
It's
Tight space, round the keeper, two guys on the line, Kukurea, arse in the back of the net, perfect.
That's exactly what you want. Yeah. I think Welbeck is due back next week, so I think was just
look at they've just beaten Chelsea 4-1. I mean, do you change that?
Yeah, that's the point. But Adam Lallana can't play every week, mate. I think that's still the case.
Danny Welbeck left mid.
You know, Trossard still had to come off. You know, it was only like 5 minutes to go, whatever it was, and the game was done. But Lallana managed 65 minutes. Like, I still think it'll be Welbeck with, but I think they will play the Trossard behind them, because what he did do was he played Mitoma with a Stupinan down that side. I think that's fun. Like, that Mitoma is a good fun player. Him and March are basically wing backs playing in a winger role, which is fantastic for whoever's in the middle. The midfielders, Caicedo and McAllister, are class. You could take Caicedo and McAllister and stick him into any of the Champions League teams, and they wouldn't look out of place as a midfield pairing.
That's a bold shout.
If you were Arsenal, Arsenal, well, they've only got one anyway, midfielder that plays there, but I don't think that's the world's worst thing of the top ones. I think obviously City is a bit different. Liverpool, they'd be crying out for either of those two players.
Yeah, true.
Either of those, you know, would. Well, I say that, but we took Basuma off. I mean, he's been terrible.
Shit. Yeah.
But Caicedo to me looks the one. He looks like he's such a good player. They're a good team, and when you've got a midfield and you're coming up against a team that haven't got a midfield, Chelsea. That is the problem. They've got lots of midfielders, but they haven't got a midfield. In that, you know, Kovacic, his legs just don't want that anymore. Ruben Loftus-Cheek will always flatter the Ziv. You can't go into a game with Pulisic and Sterling at wing back. Like, it's madness. Conor Gallagher doesn't want the ball. It's just,
yeah.
He's got a lot of work.
It feels like Chelsea's above Conor Gallagher's station as well as a player. It does feel like that.
They need to spend some money, and they will do in January. But yeah, there's a few issues there. Why he's playing Sterling as a wing back when you've got players like Chilwell and just got to play Chilwell, and you've literally just got to run Chilwell and Aspie into the ground for the next 2 weeks and do whatever you can do to keep him going.
Yeah, can't disagree.
Madness not to.
Okay, let's go up to King Power.
Are you missing us out?
I'm missing. I'm leaving us till the end.
Oh, delightful.
Why not?
I'm really bitter about De Bruyne's points. I'm really bitter about them. He gets a free kick, but then is this like a nailed on booking at about 65, 70 minutes when he just takes Tillman out off the ball, like barge into him, gets the free kick. But it's a nailed on booking. And then he goes in on Ward at the end. Again, should have been a booking.
Yeah.
Any of those bookings, and he loses.
I can feel the bitterness.
It's a lot of bitter there. He wouldn't have been in the bonus at all if they give him just a booking would have been enough to drop him 2 points.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't even the best strike of the day. Like
no, Tillman's
exactly
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he got relatively lucky to get the points he got out of that game, because he should have had the booking. I mean, but the free kick is magnificent.
I mean, there's no big chances here for City. None. I think big chance is 0.25 xg. I think 0.2 or 0.25. There's none here. You can see how different that is without Haaland. So clearly different without Haaland. Like Alvarez had, I think that chance in the first half after about 20 minutes. I think that was the Alvarez one that he was pushed through. And look, they're going to continue to create chances. Of course they are, because they're City, right? And that's going to come from all over the pitch. But
Grealish and Silva are just going to work. Like
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that you didn't put Mahrez in. Like I just you
You feel
got to
like
go.
take a finisher out and you put a finisher in.
You got to put another weapon in. Somebody that's greedy and someone that's doing it. You know, Silva and Grealish make teams tick, and they're good and they'll dominate it, and
But
it'll be all
is that why he
good.
didn't? So you think Foden? I mean, like why did Foden not play? Like,
I assume it's just the knock still that he still wasn't ready. I do think he's fully in on Grealish on that left wing now. So I feel like there's only one spot on the right for 3 players, maybe.
yeah. What do we think about What do we think about Haaland for the next game, though? I mean, I was really. Pep said it was ligament damage, or I don't know how much. That feels very specific for Pep. To be honest, he doesn't normally give very, very specific.
I think when we all hear the word
that.
ligament, we all think
Just
like,
assume 4 weeks.
that's bad. Yeah, it's bad. I don't. I think we'll get. It's still next week is the first game because I think there's an early game next week. So we'll get info.
Yeah,
we'll get info. We'll get something.
If he's out though, would you move on him?
Yeah, yeah, because I've got some money in the bank as well, so you could easily do something like.
Because if you wanted like someone like KDB, for example.
Yeah. I could do Saka and Haaland back to Wilson.
Wilson's in.
Wilson and De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Play the safe game.
Yeah,
you know.
I think we've just answered that burning question that you've got, Blue Lion. But this is not burning questions. This is above average FPL. But that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure Praz will watch this back and answer that for you on Tuesday as well when they do theirs.
Yeah. Happily.
Okay.
Because if he played that team, maybe Gundogan would have taken a penalty, wouldn't he? I think I'm looking at Gundogan or KDB. Which one of those two would have taken the penalty if they got one?
Gundo.
Yeah, Gundo, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think Gundo would take that.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, we don't know any more about. You know, we know that they're going to rest players in the midweek.
Yeah,
because they're through. So expect wholesale changes. Mahrez will start. Alvarez will start. And what have you.
And Haaland will be flagged all week.
And Haaland will be flagged all week. Yeah,
because he won't play Wednesday, so he'll definitely be flagged until probably Friday at least.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cool. Let's last game, and then we'll do some questions. So if you do have some more questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we can get to them.
Yeah.
Game of two halves.
Game of two halves.
What's stupid here is like it's the same thing happens in the first half for us. Like this is the XG chart of Tottenham like every game.
Yeah.
Every single game. Like, absolutely nothing in the first half. Just so happened we actually conceded in the first half, which hasn't happened that often. Like if you wanted a bet to put on each week, draw halftime, Tottenham full time would be like or 0-0 at halftime would be a pretty good bet as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Wolves? Wasn't it Wolves that had like 0-0 at halftime for ages? Like it was like the best bet ever. Yeah.
We're bad. We're bad first half.
Boring.
Every team. But 3-5-2, we just haven't got enough fun in midfield to play 3-5-2. And we haven't got enough fun in
what's frustrating is
wing back to play 3-5-2.
What's frustrating is mid game like 3 weeks ago, the change worked. And it just rattled things a little bit. But I think with a team that's prepared and ready for it to actually happen.
Just you look at a team, Davies, Lenglet, Davinson Sanchez, Sessegnon, Højbjerg, Bissouma, Skip, Royal. Forget that those top two exist and just go, those are the 8. It sounds like a back 8. It sounds like the 8 that you would play away to City. It doesn't sound like the 8 that you play away to Bournemouth.
It sounds like a back 8 that a surviving relegation side would play away to City. Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
Like it's just rank. You can't do it. You've got to go at teams a bit more. And then he realizes that at half time and he brings Moore on, and Moore's not a good player. But it at least makes a shape where suddenly it's dangerous. And then we're the best set piece team in the world. So, is suddenly it sounds so stupid that you just go and buy a set piece coach and suddenly you're brilliant at set pieces. But that's what we've done.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And that's how we ended up beating them, because we haven't got good passers really, other than Bentancur. It obviously came on, that makes a difference. But
How many corners
everything
did we
else
have?
was
We had something like 19 corners.
yeah, but in the second half, we had 12 of those.
Yes.
12 corners in the second half,
Yeah.
leading to 18 shots in the
Yeah.
second half.
Crazy.
And it was just pressure that they couldn't get out. And
they just ran out of steam in the end, didn't they?
They ran out of steam. That winner just seemed inevitable. I just assumed we were going to score, which is nice to feel that way, that you feel like we are going to do it. But we are now just a set piece team. And that does mean, well, it means that Son's always, well, he's not even always taking them, because Perisic sometimes takes them and they switch it up. But it's like, you don't really want to spend £11 million on a corner taker like Son.
No.
And then when it goes in, well, they always put the best player, defender, on Kane.
Yeah.
There's never Kane getting the header most of the time, apart from those mad stuff where somehow he ends up in the back post and nobody's on him.
Yeah. I mean, Tottenham for me feels like an avoid unless until we get something back on Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Just from a shape perspective. It's weird though, because it's weird because Liverpool are the kind of team, we can go to Bournemouth and we can invite the press on a team that won't press you. We'll just let you play around. That's why it took us so long to sort of break them down, and we didn't actually break them down in open play at all, as you've said. But Liverpool are going to press.
Here's the question: if it is Haaland's out, and you're not taking a hit, you just I want to go a move out. That means I might get Haaland back next week. Would you rather have Wilson away to Southampton or Kane home to Liverpool?
I'd rather have Wilson away to Southampton.
That's the world we're in.
Yeah.
It's a sorry state, but that is the world that we're in.
Well, look, like Tottenham, Tottenham, all of Tottenham's XG is set piece basically there, apart from the Sessegnon. And, Liverpool are generally better at set piece defending than most, as far as I'm aware. Like, I just feel like any team with Van Dijk in, like, it's going to be it's going to be a challenge to get the ball to move away from that head. I feel like he's going to win most things in there. You need to get a run on him or whatever. I just wouldn't fancy it.
What are you doing about Solanke for the last two games?
I expected him to be peripheral. I hoped he was going to be peripheral this week. So, yeah, I've got no issues. 5.7 million. It's fine. I'll just carry him through. Fires everywhere.
Back in that position he was start of the season, where he's behind Kiefer Moore, that's just not good for him. Like, he had no shots at all. Every time they came forward, it never looked like it was going to be him involved. It was just
no. But they needed they needed a focal point up top to allow them to actually have some attacking threat in the sense that they knew they were going to be sitting back. It's almost that 5-4-1 setup where you have the one lone striker, and they wanted that to be Kiefer Moore because he's a big unit, and he's like Solanke is lanky, right? He's not a huge guy. He's a slim guy, and I'm not saying he's weak, but Kiefer Moore.
Oh yeah,
he's more an old-fashioned centre forward type target man. Exactly. And I feel like if you're gonna have a team like Tottenham turn up, then you're gonna need that one guy up top to cause issues and just occupy all three centre backs almost.
I've got no issue playing when we got him. Leeds and Everton, and a lot of people haven't really got a choice because you got Saka, you got Tony,
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. The issues you just play him. You can't transfer him out.
Yeah. Cool. Right, we're done.
We are done.
So let me just nip over to. This is
just in Ray. Ray, you must have only just joined because it says if Saka and Haaland are still yellow, what are your thoughts on switching them for Wilson and KDB for -4? Roll back about 5 minutes and you'll get the answer.
Literally, I did rewind. Yeah, literally rewind, and you'll see Baker suggest that exact move.
Yeah.
So there you go. Right.
So what are you thinking? Is it we just wait and see on Saka before we know anything else?
Yeah, I think it's just wait and see on Saka. To be honest, I can't.
Rashford or Trossard next week, or this week, I assume, in for Paddy Griffin.
Trossard for me.
Yeah, I get it. I probably would.
Trossard for me.
Or Bowen. Nah. The same again today.
Trossard.
He's so disciplined. The only good thing I think for Bowen is that I'd be shocked if he doesn't put Antonio in next week. They were so much better when Antonio came on as Skamaka. I would start him. And then I do think that Bowen's a better asset when Antonio's on the pitch.
Yeah.
Mike is giving exclusive. Saka will be okay, just a knock.
Okay. Well, fair enough. We'll see. We'll see. Dal asked at the start of the stream, he said, have you got to play the game differently once you get into the top 100k? He asks as he went from 45 to 29k and then only had Saka today and went down to 98k. Dal, you were asking me, weren't you? You were asking me on Twitter yesterday about this. And I said, yeah, if Saka gets a decent haul, then you were probably going to be offset by the pain of the rest of them, the rest of that Arsenal army of players that score points. Do you have to play differently?
No,
not really. No,
not this time of season. Not any time of season, really. But like I say, if you're expect it. Like if you're in the between 200 and 300k is 8 points. Between 300 and 400k is 7 points. Between 400 and 500k is 6 points. Between 500 and million is 20 points. Like somebody gets a return, you are dropping 100k at the moment. That's how the game works.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit where if that bothers you, just stop looking at live FPL for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because stuff will go up and down.
Almiron or Trossard?
Oh.
Okay, let's go back to these fixtures. So the fixtures are here. So Almiron or Trossard. I'd still probably I'd go Almiron.
We're doing it again, mate. We're still thinking about it.
No, I'll go Almiron. I'll go Almiron out of those two. So
yeah.
Benrahma.
No, not in a million years. Compared to those ones, there is Almiron, there's Rashford, there's Trossard. That's it.
Best forward for the last 2 weeks?
Wilson.
Yeah.
I'd still, even with Calvert-Lewin's fixtures there, I'd still go Wilson over Calvert-Lewin.
Fair enough. Do FPL need to come out and own the site crash issue? Feels like they swept it under the rug.
Yes, but
yeah, they do.
Not
but
about, mate.
Yeah. I love this. Took your Lianco Zaha booking double idea at 24-1. Why do we not do the stuff that we say? 24-1.
Wow.
That's mad.
Poor Meninda.
That's mad. 24-1. 250 quid from a tenner. Oh, great work. Big hand for that.
Son or Salah? Can we not do KDB?
I mean,
just go KDB. Why do
I would. Yeah, probably go KDB. Yeah.
If you could Salah. Only have one,
Salah.
Would you?
Yeah,
I would. Yeah.
Salah.
Sounds playing badly.
Cancelo or Foden out to make way for KDB?
Oh.
It just feels like
Don't do it. Yeah, just stay with it.
Just stay with it. Yeah, that's fine. Best Kepa replacement? I just keep Kepa. Well, is he injured? Oh, he's injured, isn't he?
He's injured.
Well, then just go Pickford.
Yeah.
Let's go Pickford. Or Travers. Travers is 4 million, isn't he? Or is he 4 or 5?
Last 2 weeks, Pickford. It's got to be Pickford.
Yeah, it's got to be Pickford. No, I was just
100%.
thinking.
Maybe Sanchez though. Wolves do nothing.
Oh, Wolves do nothing and Villa do less than nothing at home. Yeah, Sanchez might be a good shout actually. Wilson or DCL?
Even Henderson, Brentford,
Palace at
with
home.
Brentford with no Tony.
Yeah, and then Palace, who are terrible away.
Yeah.
Oh, there's loads.
Loads.
DCL or Wilson?
More Wilson.
Just more Wilson.
Wilson.
Have we played Last Man Standing? Yes, we played Last Man Standing before. In fact, last year we did our own version of Last Man Standing for FPL, which was interesting. And I asked Baker if we were going to do it again. He said, "No, mate, never do that again." So
could be bothered. We're lazy.
Yeah. Cool. Right. One more question. What are we going to say?
Is Kulu back? No.
Is Kulu back? No. Not as far as we know. No. And Conte's hating it. So.
Yeah. Well, pleasure.
Cool, man. Right. Well, thank you to everyone in the chat. Before you go, make sure you do hit that like button. That would be really great for us. And if you want to see more of us, then obviously hit the subscribe button. Thank you to everyone in the chat for your, what's the word? Involvement this evening. Yeah. Engagement. It's a key buzz business word, that one. But yeah, hope you've had a good game week 14, game week 15 next week, 2 weeks to go, and then the World Cup. We'll speak to you soon.
2 weeks to go, mate. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye.